Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to jump in and take a look at part 6 of the Witch Hollow tutorial, the Witch Hollow display tutorial. We're going to finish up, or at least attempt to finish up, the stumps. We're going to have 4 total, and I've already done some measuring. I think I kind of hinted around that in the last video. Witch Hollow is now going to be placed right behind me in this big open space here. It's the only way I think I can get everything to fit in. So I'm sort of measuring it to that level. It's going to be a fairly substantial display. I think it's 13 or 14 buildings, a bunch of accessories, and a big witch broom, and 4 stumps. And today, we're hopefully going to finish out the stumps. Now, you saw the other tutorials where I went through and stacked foam and it didn't work. And then I went through and I put some joint compound on and kind of carved it up and made it look like a tree. At least I think it looks like a tree. And what you haven't seen is the final product, the finished product that is painted. And so here is what that looks like. And I've kind of got some moss looking stuff around the bottom, and it doesn't have a lot of the, there's still going to be some moss and some kind of lichen or whatever it's called, kind of placed on it to make it look a little more realistic. But the paint is done for the most part. You can see I didn't do a whole lot with the bottom, but that is how this stump has turned out. And I think, you know, especially from a distance, I like it. I think it looks fairly good. I don't know that I'm actually going to put faces on it. I may explore that. I may not. These are a little more difficult to build than I had previously thought. But I think they're turning out fairly good in this condition. So I told you the last time that we spoke, I was waiting on a buddy of mine to get me some foam, some thick foam. He came through like a champ. And again, that's Derek over from the Random Junk channel. So if you haven't subscribed to his channel, he shows you how to fix a whole bunch of stuff for Limax and Department 56 and just a wealth of knowledge on his channel. But he's here local in the Phoenix area. We're in the same Department 56 club, Southwest Villagers, which is, if you're not into a Department 56 club and you're into this hobby, you need to be, because it brings you a whole wealth of different types of information, and all of us are smarter than just one of us. So it certainly helps to spread that wealth of knowledge. But anyway, he came through and he got me this, he delivers pool spa type equipment, a big hot tub type equipment, and it comes with this foam, and it's the foam that he got me this time. What he had available was 4 inches thick, so that is great. So I went ahead and I've cut out a couple of these. So I'm going to have 2 8-inch stumps and 2 4-inch stumps. So they're going to be kind of staggered coming in towards the middle, towards that witch broom. And so I've taken the liberty, and you saw me cut these out the last time. The only difference was, instead of 4 inches, it was 2 inches. We stacked them together. You saw that it didn't work very well. So these are the actual size of the 4-inch stumps. These are done. They're going to get a coat of joint compound, get some carvings in the side to make them look like trees, and they're going to sit out in the sun and dry. I will show you how to do that. The next piece that I did is I cut 2 more of those out, but I glued it together already. You saw me do that in the other video. So if you have questions, go back to the part 5 Witch Hollow tutorial, and you'll see how to glue these down. It's just hot glue, and then I drove some skewers down through the middle like I did before. You see there's about 5 of them in there. And then I took a sanding block and sort of sanded this down a little more smooth to get rid of some of these big crevices and things that were overhanging. And it's a little more smooth now, where that joint compound will go on relatively easy. This will be the next 8-inch stump. And so this should finish us out. So I've got enough foam to finish all of the tree stumps. That's at least the plan. So what are we going to do now? What we're going to do now is I'm going to go get set up in the garage. You do not need to do this in the house. It is going to make a mess. And so we're going to do this outside in the garage, or outside on maybe the trash cans or something like that. But irrespective of where we decide to do it, that's what's coming next. So let me get set up, and then I'll see you here in a half a second. Okay, here we are outside, and I've got everything that I think I need set up. And so I've got the joint compound. I'm gonna have to open this up. I've got my mixing cup. Now these are just little paint plastic protectors that go down into a paint can so you don't mess up your can. I had a few of these laying around. This is perfect to mix this stuff up in. I've got another one of these full of water. I'm not gonna need nearly this much water, but I didn't want to have extra. I've got a spudger. This is for pulling things, parts and pieces off of cars, but you can use anything. You can use a putty knife or clay carving tools or your fingers or whatever. I just had this last time. It worked okay, and I'm gonna try it again this time. This will come in a little bit later, but I wanted to show it to you now. And then I've got our block over here that I'm going to use and then spread this stuff all over it. Now, I'll readjust the camera, but right now I've got a glove on because in order to mix this stuff up, and I'm gonna kind of move the camera a little bit better so you can see, or at least I think you're gonna be able to see a little bit better. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is essentially open this stuff up. Now this will become messy. That's why I got a glove on and I got an apron on. I'm trying to protect my hands, but you just reach in. It's sort of like clay. You just reach in and grab some, put it down in there. We're gonna take another big handful and maybe one more big handful like that. And just to ensure we have enough, we'll take, so that's 4 big handfuls down in there because I've got 3 stumps to do. So if this doesn't get it, the others will. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit of water and then start mixing this with my hand until it gets into the consistency of sort of oatmeal. Okay, so here you're just applying the joint compound almost like you're spreading icing on a cake, I suppose. It doesn't really matter how it looks at this point because we're going to go through after we get a good coat on it and then kind of smooth it out with our fingers before we use the tool. And you can see here that I'm smoothing that out, just kind of raking it down with my fingers to kind of get the tree look to start coming in. And here I got the spudger out and I'm just taking the spudger and drawing lines up and down and sort of diagonally around the base and the top of the stump all the way from top to bottom to kind of give it that look. Once this dries, it'll harden up and it'll look really good. Okay, so they are done, and now they're just drying. They're out here in the sun. They're gonna bake the rest of the day. Some of this stuff will likely come off. Like this is pretty thick down here, so it'll probably chip off, and that's okay. The black paint will cover all of that up. But this is what it looks like, and they're just gonna sit here and dry for the rest of the day, and then we'll see what they look like when they're done. Okay, well, we're back inside and cleaned up, and hopefully that gives you a better look and a better understanding of how I'm now creating these stumps. I started last time with the 4 pieces of foam and obviously put that joint compound on, smoothed everything out, used the spudger to kind of draw the lines in there, and you see with that all painted exactly how that turned out. The only thing different that I've done on this tutorial is I didn't use the 4 pieces of foam. I only used 2 of the thicker pieces of foam and then 2 sections of just the 4-inch for 2 additional stumps, 4 total. So the next time you see them, they will be painted, and here's how I'm going to paint them. I'll likely do that off camera probably tomorrow or this weekend after everything is dried and hardened. I usually take a big thick paintbrush and knock off all the excess spackle and joint compound. Once that's done, we'll take a can of flat black spray paint. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I've covered the foam and now a protective shell. I'll mask the top and be careful spraying the bottom and then spray paint that black. Once that's done and dry, we'll go through with browns and do a darker color, a lighter color, and then some lighting highlights, and then some green to kind of outline where the moss is going to be and where the moss is actually going to be put on. That'll be in the next tutorial where we're actually going to detail these up. So that's what's coming next. We're going to take the painted 4 stumps and we're going to then detail them with vines and moss and things around the bottom to make them more representative of what you would see out deep in the woods, where you would also find Witch Hollow if you were to stumble that far back into the woods. That's the idea behind it. That's the premise. That's the vision of what it's supposed to look like. And so you'll have 4 big stumps surrounding the big witch broom in the middle, and then all of the accessories placed in and around that. So that's where we're at. So hey, like always, if you've liked this tutorial, make sure you click the like button. It absolutely helps out the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. That absolutely helps out the channel. It helps me personally. I absolutely appreciate every subscriber that I've got. And until we meet again, enjoy yourselves. This is Easter weekend, so if you're faithful like I'm faithful, this is a big weekend for us, so please enjoy. God bless every single one of you. We will talk to you again real soon.